Hello, my name is Dr. Aidan. I'm very happy to do this presentation today with you in Seoul. I'm a chief of the head and neck surgery in American Hospital of Paris, and I've started now 10 years ago this surgery when I've been in Korea to see the Professor Chang. Professor Chang is my mentor, and I work a lot of time with him. And always he's doing some surgery. I'm very happy to see him, and I'm very impressed. First of all, I need to tell you that I'm a proctor of intuitive surgery, especially in the robotic thyroid surgery. In introduction, I would like to say that there is no fight between open or robotic surgery, because the gold standard technique is the open surgery, and the robotic surgery must be done by a very good team trained in open surgery. Of course, we need, first of all, for the first 100 cases, we need a very good selection of patients, and the conversion is always possible. Robotic thyroid surgery in the world, of course, the most important teams in the world is the South Korea teams. In Europe, we have now more than 3,000 cases, and in American hospital, we have 50% of this number of cases. I can do in my hospital more than 200 cases per year, and you will see I can operate the goiters, the big goiters. I can operate the papillary carcinoma and the Graves' disease also. And the robotic thyroid surgery is also done in Italy, Germany, Turkey, Greece, and Israel. History of the transaxillary approach started in 2000 with the first axillary approach with Ikeda, which is doing with a gas insufflation. In 2001, Professor Chang and his team is doing endoscopic surgery from axilla, and with the robot in 2006, the first robotic thyroid surgery will be done with Professor Chang, and now we have a lot of study for confirmation to have a very, very good result with this technique. I would like to show you the transaxillary approach, but you know, is incision is in the axillary zone, and you can see here the dissection of the major pectoralis muscle. We open the sternocleidomastoid muscles, we open the strap muscles to see the thyroid gland here, and we can put the retractor to now doing the docking of the robot. Another approach is doing in Korea with the retroauricular approach, especially with Professor Ko, and the surgery must be done by this incision, and he can do also the lymph node dissection. He can do also the total thyroidectomy. In Europe, the most important cases is doing by the transaxillary approach, because I'm very comfortable with this technique, and there is more especially precision for the contralateral side, and to doing big goiters, and to doing also the Graves' disease. Transaxillary approach is doing by a very wide and precise dissection, because we can see anatomic landmark. We can avoid a robotic arm conflict, especially if you have a very large transaxillary approach. Arm positioning, you can see here, is above the head, and the retractor can be down in the right place, especially to do the total thyroidectomy. Why we're doing this approach to operate the thyroid gland? Because there is a very good anatomic dissection, especially we have a natural operating view. The arm positioning is reduce the distance between the axilla and the thyroid gland, and we can also doing a very good view, especially for the recurrent angle nerve, and the parathyroid gland. In American Hospital, we have done more than 1,300 patients in 10 years. You can see here some numbers about the age, about the sex, and the BMI. In this slide, you can see the pathology, which is the big important, it's a goiter, which is doing with a total thyroidectomy. Also, I'm doing big nodules for benign nodules, PTC, papillary thyroid cancer, the Graves' disease, this is very important also, and parathyroid adenoma also. You can see here my learning curve, especially after the more than 100 cases. And now to do the the robotic thyroid surgery, my operating time is less than 1 hour for partial, for lobectomy, and for total is around more than 80 minutes. What is my indications to do the robotic thyroid surgery? Single nodule, of course. Multinodular goiters, especially we have to do a very, very good CT scan, MRI to check the volume of the gland. And the volume of the gland and the surgery depends, of course, of the surgical experience because we have to start with a very small gland, and now I can do more than 200 millimeters. Graves' disease is a good indication for the cancer, for the papillary thyroid carcinoma. T1, T2, and T3 is possible. And of course, the parathyroid adenoma is possible, especially when you have a very good radiologic and PET colon CT scan to check where is the adenoma. For single nodules, I've done between 2 and 8 centimeters, more than 253 cases. For benign tumor, especially when you have follicular and oncocytory cytology, and the thyroid is 4B usually. For the big goiter, I've done now more than 500 cases. I'm very, very focused about the MRI, about the size of the goiter, and especially for the contralateral volume to check if it's possible to do a total. You can see here the volume of the gland, which is increased with the surgical experience. You can see also here the size of the different nodules. The small one is less than 1 or 2 centimeters, and the big one is more than 10 centimeters. And you can see also the weight, and is very important, 200 grams for the largest goiter that I've done. For papillary thyroid carcinoma, we can do with total thyroidectomy or with only lobectomy, 10 double surgery because of negative frozen pathology, and we can do also a lymph node dissection, level 6 of course, but also for more than 15 cases, level 2 to level 6. Which is very important in this pathology is to have a very good staging, especially for the lymph node, because you have to know if you need to do lymph node dissection, and especially for the contralateral side, if you have the big nodules in the contralateral side, you cannot do the robotic thyroid surgery for the thyroid papillary carcinoma, which is, of course, very important to have a very good surgical experience. We can do T1, T2, and also T3, but we have to check also the contralateral side, like I told you, if there is no lymph node, metastatic lymph node. The learning curve is very important. We start with lobectomy, and after more than 1 or 200 cases, you can do total and lymph node dissection. I've done a paper with a very good team in Hôpital Saint-Louis in Paris, and this paper shown that there is no difference between the robotic surgery and the open surgery, especially for the woman. Graves' disease is also the very good indication for the robotic thyroid surgery because it's for the usually is for the very young woman, less than 30 years old, and they doesn't want any scar on the neck. And we can do, after more than 100 cases, a total thyroidectomy, but we can have a very good preparation before surgery. I use Legel solution. I use neomercazole, propanolol, steroid also, especially 7 days before surgery, and I need to have a pre-op normal T4 before surgery. My result is very good because the hospital stay is around 2 days, and you can see here the operating time with the volume of the grafts. You can see here the volume of the grafts is increased and the operating time is decreased because of the surgical experience. I've done also a paper with my friend Professor Candil in the New Orleans to prove that the robotic thyroid surgery, it's a feasible, a very safe technique for the grave disease. I've done also the surgery for the kids, for the children, with the pediatric team, the Professor Vincent Couloignier, Hôpital Necker, and now we have more than 25 cases for the total thyroidectomy for the kids between 6 years old and 12 years old. What is the contraindication of the robotic thyroid surgery in my experience? Of course, anatomy of the patient. If the neck is very small, if the volume of the gland is very high, and I told you if the lymph node is metastatic in the contralateral side, I think this is not a very good indication for the robotic thyroid surgery. What is our complication? We had the permanent dysphonia 9, we have transient auricular nerve palsy. Hypocalcemia, we have a 30 hypocalcemia, but 30 transient, and a permanent 4, especially because of the lymph node dissection of the cancer. We had 4 transient brachial plexus, but it was for the first 20 cases. I remember the time, the operating time was more than 4 and 5 hours. For hematoma, we have 12 hematoma. 8 we have a surgery, but all the bleeding was in the transaxillary approach, no bleeding from a cervical, and we didn't need a robot to do the hemostasis. For the cervical scar, of course, when you have the neck like that, when the age of the patient is high, you cannot see the scar. But when you have a young woman, especially with a black skin, you can see the very bad keloid scar, and the woman wants to do this surgery to avoid any keloid scar on the neck, especially if there is a difficulty with healing, especially with culture, and for the self-body image. It's very, very difficult for the girls to have this in the middle of the neck. The scar of the robotic thyroid is very cosmetic. You can see here a big scar in the axilla. You can see in this case, in this woman which is doing the keloid scar, you can see the keloid here in the axilla. We have a training center in Europe, especially in IRCAD Strasbourg, with a double console, with a virtual training, and we have cadaver also, so which is Professor Marisco. The room is very good for the trainer, and especially to work for the dissection of the transaxillary approach. Perspective of the robotic thyroid surgery, of course, in my opinion, this is the future, and with the new robot, especially the SP, which is doing now in Korea until 2018, the indication will be increased, and the complication, of course, will decrease, especially because of the flexible optical, especially because of the flexible instrument. But we don't have any this experience in Europe yet, and we need a certification for the new Robo XI. In summary, so the robotic thyroid surgery is a feasible technique and very safe technique. Indications must be done, especially on the first experience, in 50 cases. Total thyroidectomy must be done, but we have to be very careful about the size, about the volume of the gland, and if you want to do the lymph node dissection, of course, you have to do a very good experience. I would like to thank my mentor, Professor Chung, which is for me a very, very good man. Thank you very much.